Hello and welcome to AZ in the Circle, Arizona Softball Podcast, where we shine a light on talented, hardworking high school and college softball players and coaches from and in the 48th state. Season 2, we got a special guest star, super smart, super good, talented, Cwen Wilson. Thank you for joining us today.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, from Dartmouth College, right? You are from Paradise Valley, graduated from Chaparral High School in 2023. Mm-hmm. You're in your sophomore year, right? So we're gonna go through about 5 questions, right? And I want to recap last season. I want to know how fall ball went. Tell us about your teammates. You guys have a really good team that Coach Williams has been cooking up there for a few years now, getting ready for this, what I think is going to be a spectacular year for you guys. And then love to hear your recruiting journey. Then we'll take a break and hear from Brig over there at PT Polaris PT in Queen Creek. And then we'll come back and finish up with the last 2 questions, knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self, and your keys to your success. So, again, thanks for coming. I know you're very busy, you're in your big break, right?
Yeah.
At Dartmouth College after Thanksgiving, and your semester and stuff. You don't go back to school till when?
January, which is fantastic, getting the whole month of December off. We get 6 weeks break, so super nice.
Yeah. And so when you left Dartmouth College just recently, how cold was it there?
Ooh. I think it was like a high. I think the day I left, it was like a high of like 27, 28. It was raining. It was cold.
And you were so happy to come home.
Yes. Oh my God. I got on that bus and I was like, thank you.
And the weather's so nice here.
It ended up snowing like the week after I got home.
Okay. So, and then when you get back, really, it's a ramp up to the season. And then before you know it, you're traveling to Florida and to warm places to start your season. So you're really blessed to have that big break and then go back and just have a few weeks, basically, right, before you start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so let's recap last year. Last year, Dartmouth, I saw you guys play a lot on ESPN Plus. I mean, ESPN Plus is not a sponsor. We love them to be a sponsor. But it is awesome the amount of softball they show on there. And every time I see Dartmouth, the good thing is I can save it or at least start watching it and then go back and see it. So I know you guys battled hard last year. You guys made the Ivy League tournament.
Yeah.
Yep. And what was your best memory on the field?
Definitely when we played against BU and I hit the go-ahead home run. That was pretty big for me because it was my first collegiate home run. And also, like, BU was a ranked team. Like, we hadn't beat a ranked team in a while. So that was a pretty big deal. It was a no-doubter as well. So, like, I felt that off the bat, and I was so excited. And it was also the first time that I actually posed for one of the pictures because, like, I knew that there was going to be a camera on me. So I didn't look bad in the photo of me, like, celebrating at home. I was so happy about that.
Yeah, no, I saw it on ESPN Plus. It was great. It was the bottom of the 6.
Yeah.
Right? Boston University, ranked 23 or 24th, and 2 outs, and boom. It ended up being the walk-off. So that was great. I was so happy for you when that happened, and so great. And then what about, I'm sure Coach Benz, Coach Williams, Coach Ashley want a lot of that repeat stuff going on this spring.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What about your best memory off the field?
Definitely like spending time with my teammates. 2 of my teammates, they rent a house. So we normally do a lot of team bonding activities there. And like last year, they had a Wii set up in there and we were just addicted to the Wii. Like we'd play Just Dance, we'd play like the Wii sports games.
Which sports games would you play the most?
I think we did bowling like quite a bit. They also had there's like a beach Wii sports thing and they had like some of those games I had never seen before. It was like, I want to say one of them was like a jet ski or something. I don't know. I would just sit there and I would watch and then
attempt it.
Yeah, and then I attempt and miserably fail after one of my teammates just like dominated whatever the game was.
What about the baseball when you flick it and you pitch it? And
we yes.
Did a lot of that?
Yes.
Good. Because you guys are so competitive, I imagine you get yourselves in a competitive atmosphere and then it gets out of hand.
Sometimes it does. Like we were playing, like when we're just playing games like together, like people will be yelling across like the table about what is the correct decision or what is a good choice.
Yep. That's what happens. You get competitive people competing there. They have a lot of fun. All right, that's good. And then tell us about you wrapped up fall ball, and how'd that go? I know you said you kind of sat out most of it.
Yeah, so I sat out most of fall ball because I broke my ankle in the summer. So I was in a boot for the first part of school. But I feel like as a whole, the team honestly clicked very well for adding so many new players. We added 8 freshmen. So everybody was able to like work together. And because I wasn't actually on the field playing, I was instead watching and like keeping score, doing book and all of that stuff. And it was really nice like seeing how everybody interacted with each other, because it just like seemed like such a welcoming environment. And then also like me being on the side, I would also help with like random tasks at practice, basically.
You were a coach.
Yeah, so so my teammates ended up calling me. It was Coach Cwen or Quoch, because they like coming up with nicknames and stuff like that for me, because I came into school with a normal nickname and they're like, no,
Quote.
we're gonna do something else.
Okay. What are some of the other nicknames that of the other teammates?
Oh my, the other teammates have normal nicknames. they're like Jensen Hall. Her nickname is literally Jawl because it's her first and last name put together. Or
She was the Ivy League pitcher of the year, right?
Yeah.
Not just the rookie pitcher of the year, but was it the Ivy League pitcher?
She was the Ivy League pitcher of the year. She's a fantastic player.
She's in the class with you. She's a sophomore.
She's a sophomore as well.
Now, from what I understand, she's a great pitcher of the year.
Yeah.
And I've seen her pitch. She's fantastic. Then I understand you brought in the new freshmen. There's 8 of them.
Yeah.
I would imagine Coach Williams probably brought in some pitchers.
Coach Williams, definitely. She brought in a handful of pitchers. I personally think they're all really good. I've caught for, I think, all of them at least once. It definitely adds diversity to our pitching staff compared to like what we had, because before we only had Jensen and Rachel. And now adding another 3 pitchers, it just like enhancing the staff and allowing for more time for rest for our other 2 pitchers, which is just like fantastic, because that was definitely one thing that we were lacking last season with our low numbers. So the addition of them is just, it's gonna make for like I think we're gonna do very well this season with that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, you're in the circle and you got a team. It sounds like it's not just gonna be by committees. You sound like you got 3 strong, super strong pitchers that I think you'll make the Ivy League tournament and go far in it and probably get an automatic bid. I'm calling it right now. Let's go in the tournament.
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So tell us about those teammates. You got the freshmen. What about seniors? And now you're a sophomore.
Yeah.
You've experienced your freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Has that helped you? You said the team was very welcoming. Has that helped you bring in some of the freshmen, help them? And what about the seniors? What leadership have you seen from them? And tell us a little bit about your teammates, please.
So I definitely look up to our senior class this year. So like Alana Panu, love her so much. Very, very good role model when it comes to sport of softball. She is dedicated to playing. Like, she throws her body at everything. She like goes 110% at everything, and it's really just somebody to look up to when it comes to like work ethic wise. Like, I want to be able to work, like I want to work as hard as she does. I want to be how she does when she's playing. Then it's also, we got Jenna, Rachel, and Layla. And honestly, it's just our senior class this year is probably like, they're like the nicest group of people. And they're very good at, like, if we are having troubles with school or softball or just, like, life in general, being like, hey, like, I can lend an ear. Like, and they're just, it's honestly, they're like older siblings on our team. Like, our team has a very, I feel like, familial dynamic this year, as, like, the seniors are just, like, the older siblings. And it kind of, I think that helped really bring in our freshmen this year, because the freshmen, half of them are, like, pretty shy, and like also I did not talk last season. Like, I was a really shy kid, and this.
So you come from Arizona, all the way to the Northeast.
Yeah.
You're just what would you try to do internally? Just trying to survive, or just trying to figure out how this all works? And
I was definitely trying to like just navigate college. Like, obviously I'm super far from home. I don't know anybody at the school other than like the few, like my teammates basically. And it was just like that, all of that stress was just like so much for me, who has like, I like never really left the state of Arizona. Like I've gone to California and like Nevada at that point for like tournaments, but like traveling across the country, it was pretty hard. And
luckily the academics are super easy there. So no, so you had that on top, right?
Yeah.
You got the academics. It's a great school academically.
And it's just like it was just like super stressful. I didn't really want to. It's not that I didn't want to go out there, but it's just I felt like I didn't have time to actually go out there. So it's like your team becomes your family. And I feel that like this year specifically, we were able to, I guess, kind of take out those freshmen who were like super shy like I was, and they all talk so much. They're like, our team is so loud. Like I feel like we're never quiet. Like we'll be in the locker room and you can hear like 7 or 8 people talking at once.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Conversations. I'm like, I don't know.
Because you're helping them. It's almost like therapy. They're relaxed.
Yeah.
They feel comfortable. They're not as stressed. And I think that might lead to great performance on the field too. If they build that chemistry now in the fall. So you're saying that you built good chemistry this fall.
Yeah, I believe the chemistry is honestly that we have is very good. There's like obviously there's some hiccups that happen throughout the fall because we're just getting used to playing as like basically a brand new team. But with like each formation of like the defense that we did, like everybody worked together very well. Everybody got very good at communicating throughout the fall as it went on. And it was just like very impressive to see how much improvement everybody made in like the short span of time, because our terms are only 10 weeks. So it was within that about 9-ish weeks, because we don't really start the first week of school. About 9-ish weeks, how everybody was able to just become like a cohesive unit.
And then I've always liked this about your stadium there. You guys have the Appalachian Trail going through center field in the back there, center field. How many times have you hiked this Appalachian Trail?
I have not hiked it once.
Have you gone back there?
Yeah, so whenever we hit balls over the fence,
which is a lot.
Yeah, it's like happens quite often, especially if we're doing like machine pitching on the field. We have to go get the balls, which means they end up on the trail. And it's just really us like hopping around. There's like this kind of like I don't even know what to call it. It's like not like it's like a divot, but like it looks like a little tiny creek basically back there.
It's a big opening, the trail.
Yeah.
Then you got the big, huge evergreen trees. It looks beautiful back there.
Oh, it really is. Except for in the winter, I would say, like if you're actually going back there when there's snow on the ground and all of like it is very pretty, but you cannot move around back there at all. The snow is too thick. There's holes. It's like the water's just sitting there.
That's why you were in a boot this fall, because you're looking for softballs back there.
That was a potential last season. I did get my foot stuck underneath the branch. Okay. Almost ate it, but it was okay.
All right, good. So with all that good work that happened in the fall, does Coach Williams say to you guys, hey, during these 6 weeks, I need you guys to pick right back up where you got here? Does she set some kind of, I don't know, what do they do there with a 6-week break? I'm sure in the back of her mind, she's thinking, I got to get these girls, make sure they're ready when they come back.
Yeah, so we all agree on team standards for when we're going on break. And since like break is significantly like longer, I feel like, than most people's breaks, we have to be really diligent on what we're doing. So we have our strength coach, Trent, who has all of our workouts lined up, and we have our workouts for strength and conditioning. And that's all in an app on our phone. So we know exactly what we're doing on whatever day at the amount that we should be doing them all. And then we decide on how often we should be basically playing softball. So like I think we agreed on like 4 days out of the week we should be like hitting a ball off of a tee or just interacting with softball some way. And then 3 days out of the week we should be throwing. And the only way that we can continue to get better is by all of us sticking to this, which I feel like our team does a very good job at sticking to all of our workouts and our programs, because like we all understand that like we can't just show up in January and not have done anything over the break, because it shows when you do that. And obviously like we want to make it as far as we can. Like our team is definitely a team that wants to get somewhere. Like, based off of last year and how close we were, like, that's definitely a drive for this year, is the fact that, like, we got so close last year and we want to actually win.
And you guys right off the bat, I mean, I know your schedule is not official yet, but you guys you're very resourceful. So we went to other schools' schedule, and looks like you guys open up, or I don't know if you open up, but there's a tournament down at Florida Atlantic University, Paradise, Boca Raton, Florida, where you're going to play Purdue a couple times, and Villanova and NC State. So I'm not sure if that's the first weekend or second weekend, but maybe it's the second or third weekend, because sometimes you guys the Ivy League starts a couple weeks later, I think.
Yeah, I think we might be starting on time this year. Okay. I think.
But that's great competition down there. So you're right. You got to be ready to go. Good luck with that. Okay. And then, hey, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll share your recruiting journeys. That sound good?
Yep.
All right. So during our break, I really want to thank Brig with Polaris PT. He's really made this show kick off well in the second season. Thanks, Brig.
At Polaris PT and Wellness, we believe that movement is medicine. We believe that as an athlete, you should be performing at the highest level. And so we deliver performance-driven solutions to get you back out onto the field faster. So give us a call at 480-808-4995 or reach out to us through our website, www.polarisptphx.com, where movement is medicine.
And now we're back. Thanks, Brig, with Polaris PT out in Queen Creek. Now, your recruiting story is one of my favorite parts of the podcast show. And yours is like most stories. Everyone's journey is different. So I'm excited to hear about your recruiting journey coming up to September 1st, after September 1st. Let us know.
So I used to play baseball. I started playing baseball when I was 3, and I ended up making the switch from baseball to softball seriously going into my freshman year of high school. And during that summer, I tried out for a new club to Arizona. It was Explosion Softball. So it's like normally out of California.
Okay.
And it was mainly because there was an Explosion team that was a 12U team. So I was 14 at this point. And I would go and practice with that coach. It was Todd Mabry. And he was just like, I think you have a fantastic talent for the sport. I think you would do well, so I think you should go for it. So I ended up playing with Explosion for my 14U and started to think about colleges. Like, I was very adamant that, like, I was going to go play college ball. I wanted to go to Stanford. I wanted to go there for academics over anything, but I was like, oh, if I can play softball there, like, that would be crazy. I want to do that. And then I got into my sophomore year, and it was more of emailing, making clips, sending them to coaches. And when it came to the end of my sophomore year and like that summer, I kind of went through just like, the coach that I had was not the best person. I feel like he was very discouraging for all of us. And it was kind of just at that point, I just no longer wanted to play softball anymore. And I just really couldn't. I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm just going to go to college for academics. Maybe I'll stay in state. Maybe I'll go to Stanford. Like, that was still the plan. And I ended up quitting softball from July, like going into my junior year until like around like November-ish of my junior year. And obviously, like, that's peak recruiting time. So once I got into November, I was like, okay, I enjoy playing. Like, I still would practice, like, literally every day. Like, I'd be at the batting cages. I'd be throwing with my friends. And I'd also, at this point, decided that I wanted to do the fall baseball at my school. So I was playing baseball throughout that fall with all the guys. And they were basically like, hey, like, you should play softball again. So I picked up with another team. And it was just very enjoyable. And then I went to one tournament, and I ended up seeing 2 of my friends from my 14U team, which I absolutely loved that team. And they were like, "Hey, you should play with
Coach Mabry's team."
Yeah, it was technically the older team, but we practiced together.
Okay.
So it was Vicky Bejarano. I think that was the Explosion team. And it was just that that organization, I absolutely love them. But my two friends, Cami and Bella, were like, hey, you should play for our team. And they were playing at that point with Oro Valley Suncats. And I was like, I don't know. I'm enjoying just kind of like picking up and doing whatever. And they're like, it'll be fun. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Okay. And then I ended up staying with that team for the next 2 years, which honestly, like if it weren't for them being like, hey, play on our team.
Your friends.
Yeah. If it weren't for my friends saying that, I probably wouldn't be playing in college because I probably would have just like been, picking up here or there and just not actually continuing competitively. And then junior year, like towards probably the end of junior year, I was like, okay, I'll take a stab at like reaching out to coaches again. And at that point, a lot of my friends were getting committed already and no coaches were opening my emails. And it was like a pretty discouraging thing when nobody's looking at you. And then I got to, I don't know what tournament it was, but I was noticed.
Some type of showcase in California.
Yeah, I was noticed by the Carleton coach, which is Coach Erickson. Love her. She's super sweet.
High academic school.
Yeah.
Up in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was talking with her for a little bit because I was like, oh, maybe I'll go play there because high academics, it's a good school. Like that would be maybe an option that I was looking into. And then I ended up going to another tournament, and it was a showcase tournament, and for some reason, they had me continue hitting, and I was like, why am I batting so many times in a row?
Because they didn't go through the whole order.
No.
You bat, and you get back in the dugout.
Yeah, I would get back in the dugout. My coach was like, put back on your helmet. You're going back out there to hit again. And I was like, what is going on?
And what is it about a showcase? A showcase, they allow you. The rules are, if the coach is out there saying, hey, I need her to see her.
Yeah. So
somebody was out there saying, I need her to see
me. I didn't know who it was unsure of this. We had like 2 more games. And then we were in our little like huddle as a team off to the side, and our coach is talking, and she looks at me and she goes, oh yeah, here, Dartmouth's looking at you. And I was like, who? And one of my teammates ended up tackling me and was like, oh my god, like this is such a big deal. And I was sitting there like, I don't know what this school
is. And who was the coach that was on the card?
And it was Coach B.
Coach Ben. Right.
And I was
who played D1 at Arkansas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Coach B.
She must know talent.
Yeah. Right? But I was just like, oh, okay. So I looked into the school and I was like, okay, I would love to go there. Like that would be a fantastic school. So I decided I'm just going to email the school and see if I get a response. And after the first email, I did, and I was like, okay, so we're just going to go with this. And we emailed back and forth for a while. Coach B came out to see like 2 more of my tournaments. Coach Williams came to see me play. And then there was a period of time where I emailed Coach B. She did not respond for like a month, and I got really worried. And then I ended up getting like a text, or it was, I got an email from them, and then I set up like a Zoom call, and they were basically like, hey, like we're between you and this other girl. So like we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And I was like, all right. I'm competing with somebody else. Like, this is kind of scary. And then I get a text while I'm in school. So I'm, like, in class.
So you see the text, did you read it, or you're like, oh, my gosh, it's from them?
No, I first I looked, and I was like, why is Coach B texting me? And then I think it was actually Coach Williams. I have, like, the little Dartmouth picture for, like, both of them. And so I looked at it, and I was like, why am I getting a text? And it was like, can you call right now? And I was like, oh, no. Because in my mind, it was like, it's either really good or it's not gonna be good. And I was like, I'm in school. And she's like, oh, okay, then we'll talk later. And I was like,
that made it even worse, right? Because now they leave you hanging.
I was like, oh goodness. And like at this point, the thing is, I was leaning more towards I'm probably getting an offer because we'd already went through like all the financial aspect of it. Like we'd been through that, but I wasn't positive if the other girl like didn't take an offer.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. And then I ended up getting the call once I got home from school, and they're like, yeah, we're going to offer you, I cut her off, and I said yes before she could finish asking what my response was. And then I was just like standing there, I was like, wow. Okay, like this is crazy.
And that's a great staff. You got Coach Williams, the head coach, you got Coach Benz, you got Coach Ashley. They seem to they work really well, and in my experiences with them, they've always been pretty, direct and honest. And well, of course they're honest, but I'm just saying they cut right to the chase.
They definitely do. It's a very nice coaching staff because they're different from each other enough to, like, depending on who you're asking a question, they'll give you a different answer, which is very helpful. But it's also like Coach Williams is like a very like tough coach.
He's the boss.
Yeah. And then Coach B is kind of like in the middle where she can either be super tough or she can be like, like chilled, like lay back. Obviously wants us to do everything, but like she'll vibe with us. Like we'll be listening to music. She'll be dancing along with us. And then I love Coach Ash. She is so sweet. And last season when I basically had to play a new position for the first time, I was playing right field. I'm not an outfielder. I'm an infielder. And Coach Ash is the outfield coach. So she was helping me so much. And it's just, I honestly, I really love my coaching staff. Like, we all, like, they set up little team bonding stuff for us. They're super easy to talk to, which I find, like, that's so nice because I've had coaches who are just really hard to talk to.
You can approach them if you have, maybe not in the moment in the game, but afterwards, say, hey, coach, help me understand what.
Yeah, like they're super approachable. It's good for asking questions on like specific things, or if you just like don't like feel like you're doing something correctly. Like I've had multiple times where I just felt like my swing was off. So I would just talk to Coach B about it, and she's like, "Hey, have you just like thought about this, or maybe this is happening because I don't see anything actually going on. So maybe it's like a mind thing. Maybe you need to think differently." And it's just like super nice to be like, I guess, validated in like what you're asking rather than being told like you should know how to do this and stuff like that, which is very nice compared to like other coaching staff that I had.
Great. So you said yes on the phone. Before, did you talk to your parents or anybody? Say, hey, how did that all transpire and how was it communicated and what was their reaction?
So my mom had been through everything. Like I love my mom. She's like the only reason, well, not the only reason, but like the biggest reason why I'm playing softball. She's the one who took me to all my games and everything like that. And she went with me on all of my visits. And she was very, like, when I told her, when I first got the business card that Coach B gave, she was like, yes, like that's a fantastic school. Like, go for it. Yes, yeah. I want, like, that's fantastic opportunity. And so when I got the offer, she was actually standing next to me for like 5 seconds before I ran in the opposite direction because I was excited. But she, like, I'm on the phone and the phone is on speakerphone. So she hears this too. And she was super excited for me. And she's like, are you, like, say yes. You have to answer the question. Because at first I was like, yes. And then Coach didn't hear me say yes the first time because I cut her off while she was talking. And my mom's like, answer the question. You got to say yes. She didn't hear you. You got to say yes. And I was like, yes. Like, and honestly, my mom's like my biggest supporter, taking me to everything. Like, I am so thankful for her as a parent. Because I would not be here without her.
Yeah, she's like, you're sending your girl all the way across the country. Yeah. She's like, go do it.
Yeah.
That had to make you feel great.
Yeah.
Good. Well, hey, that's a great story. I'm glad, of course, they offered you. You're fantastic. And it paid off. They beat the top 25 team, and you're a great teammate. And you talk about your teammates. You lift them up. It looks like you guys got some good chemistry going. I'm so excited to see you guys play coming up here pretty shortly. All right, so thank you again for sharing your story. The last two questions. Okay, so knowing what you know through this whole process, big up and downs that you shared with us. What would you tell your younger self, going through the process?
Definitely to like never give up or never let anybody else like crush your dreams, more or less. Like don't leave your dreams in the hands of somebody else, because if I had not listened to my friends who said, like, hey, you should play with us, and just decided that specific coach was the reason why I quit playing the sport, then I wouldn't be at the point I am today. And the sport, like, gave me not only, like, a good environment to be in and fantastic teammates, but it also gave me a great academic setting that, like, not that I couldn't get on my own, but it's just like the added aspect of being an athlete at like a top academic school just like it gives me more, not more, but resources that not necessarily normal students wouldn't have, but they're directed towards athletes to help us academically, like stress wise. Like we have a whole program that's just like dedicated to basically like a whole staffing that's dedicated to helping the student athletes really be able to be the best as an athlete and a student. Where it's like, I feel like obviously like I feel like a lot of schools there might be or not a lot of schools, but some schools there's not necessarily like you're an athlete before a student. Like this is like a school that's like a very you're a student before an athlete. Like you will always get your schoolwork done first. You're always like you can ask coach. Like our coaches are very good about this where it's like if I have a lab, like coach is like, yeah, you can miss practice. Like you'll just have to make it up. But yeah, go do that. Like your schooling is more important. So I feel like if I had just like basically listened to that coach who is not, he didn't obviously blatantly tell me I wasn't good enough, but through the actions and like the way that he like portrayed himself to us, it was more or less saying like I felt like he was telling me I wasn't good enough. And if I had listened, like I wouldn't have had this like fantastic opportunity.
Thank God you listened to your two teammates.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's been a reoccurring theme when we interview you great student athletes is you learn how it's, you've even mentioned it too, it's not an individual sport. I mean, it is an individual sport, but you realize that you need your teammates.
Yeah.
Or something we were talking about earlier, that you called it a term, and I saw it posted by Torrance Slaughter, who's going to Alabama. Alabama posted a picture, and they had the word mudita.
Yeah.
And you had talked about that earlier prior to us filming, and explained that.
So my high school baseball team, their motto is Mudita. And since I played with them for my junior and senior fall, I kind of like, I was basically adopted into the team by all of the guys. So it means since they're all living by it, I was like, I need to live by it. And Mudita means vicarious joy for other success. So it was like the embodiment of what brotherhood is, because you need to be excited for your brothers when they do something well, even if you aren't doing well yourself. And I really took that to heart because I tend to make softball a very individualized sport for myself. Because like I'll mess up and I get really mad at myself and I don't really think about my other teammates. So during my junior year, I was like, okay, I want to like basically like put this into my play. And I started focusing more on like the fact of like, even if I'm not doing well right now, like one of my teammates is doing fantastic. Like I need to basically like lift them up more because hey, like they're doing something that I can't. I need to be happy for them. So it's something that I now definitely live by for sports. And I also write on the back of my cleats because it's kind of like a reminder, especially when I'm batting, I'll end up looking at my cleats. I'm like, okay, like this whole game doesn't just rest on my shoulders. Like I'm doing something for my team and then my teammate after me is going to do something for the team.
Oh, that's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And then if you think about it, had you not stopped playing softball, in a way I'm saying maybe a blessing that you stopped playing softball because then you got with the baseball team and you learned this motto where maybe you wouldn't have learned that had you not have those few months off. And you were still playing baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, now you go hit this thing here, which this is a little bit bigger than a baseball. So if you were smacking, out of a baseball, then, when you got to this, it seemed like huge, didn't it?
Yeah.
From baseball to softball, does it?
Yeah, it does. Those two sports are like very different, but like the transition from hitting a tiny ball to hitting a bigger ball was actually very good for me, especially like hand-eye coordination and whatnot. That I train a lot with baseballs now because it helps so much with just like hitting off of pitchers because like a softball's not coming faster than a baseball, but it's coming like you have a quicker reaction time. And so being able to see like such a small ball coming in at like the high speeds that baseball players are throwing and then switching to this, it helped me see the spin better on softballs.
Good.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a blessing that you got to learn that term, the Mudita.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing, and maybe you've kind of explained this through our interview, but what are your personal keys to your success?
Definitely work ethic and like always working hard. I feel like I've always worked hard in like no matter what sport I did. I played just a lot of sports when I was growing up because there was a sport for every season. My mom just put me in every single one of them. It was like what do you like? What do you not? And then also like definitely schooling. I was very driven as an student. Like I always I got my work done. I was like I need to have a 4.0. I need to.
You were competitive
Yeah.
on the field and you were competitive in the classroom.
Yeah, and I think that helped a lot. And then also like I normally don't talk a lot. Like I'm on the more quiet side, but I normally like use humor as a way for me to communicate better with people. And I feel like it's just like in like me making people laugh and it increases the way that I'm able to like talk, and it helped a lot this year because I was like I'm injured in the fall. I don't know half the team now because we brought in so many freshmen. Let me make somebody laugh and see if they want to still talk to me afterwards.
That's good.
And so that kind of, the humor aspect kind of helped me like just get out there and be around people more and like show myself more, because I definitely come off as like, I guess tough, or like I get told like I have an RBF, but like I do not act like that like at all. Like
That's funny. I know what that means. Hey, what about, since you were you got to see the freshmen coming in, did you get to give any nicknames to them?
no, okay, no, but kind of. So our freshmen this year, one of our seniors, Jenna, decided that our freshmen were going to be like kittens for some reason. So each one of them got their own kitten name.
Okay.
So I like helped with one of them because I just like, I looked at one of the freshmen, her name's Scarlett, and just a super bubbly personality. So I was like, your name's Bubbles.
Okay.
And that one stuck.
sticking?
So, yeah.
Okay, good.
So now she'll answer to Bubbles. She'll answer to Bubs. It's great.
Good. That's awesome. Well, hey, this has been a great show. Thanks to you. Thank you for coming out here. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for your candor, for being straight with us. And thank you out there for watching. If you guys enjoyed what you saw and you felt like we've earned your subscription, please subscribe. Please like us. Follow us on X, AZ in the Circle. Follow us on Instagram at AZ in the Circle and YouTube at AZ in the Circle. So I'm Javier with AZ in the Circle, Arizona Softball Podcast. Thank you for watching.